The smoke rose from New York's broken towers like black fingers, reaching toward the stars. Ambassador Chen Wei stood on what remained of the United Nations building, her diplomatic uniform torn and covered in dust. Behind her, the city burned. The same fires that consumed every major human settlement across Earth painted the sky in shades of orange and red. Chen looked up at the alien ships hovering in the atmosphere. 12 different species made up the hegemony fleet. For 30 years, she had tried to talk to them. 30 years of peace offers, trade agreements, and surrender terms. They had ignored every single one. Final transmission beginning, her aide whispered. The young man's hand shook as he activated the communications array. This would be humanity's last message to the galaxy. Chen straightened her shoulders and faced the camera. Across the galaxy, every ship, every station, every world would receive this broadcast. She had practiced these words for weeks, hoping she would never need to say them. To the Hegemony Council and all who received this message, she began. Her voice was steady despite the chaos around her. I am Ambassador Cheney, speaking for the people of Earth and all human colonies. An explosion echoed in the distance. More ships were landing, bringing more soldiers to finish what they had started. Chen did not look away from the camera. For 30 years, we have offered you peace. We opened our worlds to trade. We shared our technology. We offered to join your alliance as equals. You responded with invasion. You destroyed our colonies. You enslaved our people. You called us weak because we preferred words to weapons. The ground shook as the hegemony forces moved closer. Shen could hear their heavy footsteps in the building below. They would be here soon. We tried to show you that strength does not always mean violence. We believed that intelligent species could solve problems without war. We were wrong about you. You only understand force. You think compassion is weakness? You mistake mercy for cowardice. Chen paused and looked directly into the camera. Behind her, the last evacuation ships were launching from the spaceport. Tiny lights against the burning sky, carrying the final survivors to safety, to hidden places the hegemony would never find. You wanted to see what humans are really like when we stop being peaceful. You are about to find out. We tried peace. You would not listen. Now you will meet the other side of humanity. The door behind her exploded inward. Hegemony soldiers poured into the room, their weapons raised. Chin did not turn around. She kept speaking to the camera. To any species watching this transmission, learn from our mistake. The hegemony only respects strength. They will take everything you offer and demand more. They will see your kindness as weakness and use it against you. A soldier barked something in his alien language. Chen heard the charging whine of energy weapons behind her. She had seconds left. To the human survivors scattered across the galaxy, remember who we were before this day. Remember that we chose peace first. But also remember that sometimes evil forces you to become something else. Sometimes you have to fight monsters by becoming something they fear more. The soldier shouted again. Chen could feel the heat from his weapon on her back. To the Hegemony Council, you have won this battle. Earth will fall today. But you have made a terrible mistake. You thought the humans you met were all of us. You were wrong. The diplomats, the farmers, the scientists, the teachers, they were our hope for a better future. But we always had another side. A darker side. The side we kept hidden because we wanted to be better than our ancestors. Red targeting lasers danced across the walls. Chen smiled sadly at the camera. You are about to meet the humans we tried not to be. The ones we kept sleeping in the dark places between the stars. The ones we hoped we would never need. They have been waiting for this day. Waiting for the signal that peace has failed. Waiting for permission to do what they were made to do. The soldier spoke in broken English now. Stop talking or we kill you. Chen laughed. You are going to kill me anyway. But that is fine. My death will be the signal they are waiting for. When this transmission ends, they will wake up. And then you will learn why humanity survived every war, every disaster, every enemy we ever faced. She looked into the camera one last time. Somewhere out there, her brother Marcus was watching. Admiral Morrison was watching. General Hayes was watching. All of them asleep in their ships, waiting for this moment. We gave you every chance to be our friends. We offered you our best qualities, our creativity, our hope. our desire to build instead of destroy. You threw it all away. You chose to be our enemies. Now you will meet the worst parts of human nature, the parts we evolved in millions of years of war and death, the parts we tried to leave behind. The energy weapons hummed louder. Chen closed her eyes. We tried peace. Now you get war. Real war. Human war. And we are very, very good at it. The transmission cut off as the weapons fired. Ambassador Chen Wei, humanity's greatest diplomat, died as she had lived, trying to save her people. But her death was not an ending. It was a beginning. Across the galaxy, hidden ships received the signal. In secret bases built over centuries, automated systems came online. In the cold, sleep chambers scattered throughout space. Military commanders who had been waiting for decades began to wake up. The hegemony had destroyed peaceful humanity. They celebrated as Earth burned. They thought they had won a great victory. They had eliminated the human problem forever. They were wrong. The humans they had fought were the ones who built schools and hospitals, the ones who preferred books to bullets, the ones who chose to create instead of destroy. Those humans were dead, now burned with their cities and their dreams of peace. But other humans were waking up. Humans who had been trained for war since childhood. Humans who studied death, the way others studied art. Humans who had been kept in the darkness for good reason. Admiral Morrison opened her eyes in her sleep chamber aboard the battleship. Humanity's wrath. Around her, 50 other ships powered up their weapon systems. They had been drifting in space for 20 years, waiting for this signal. General Hayes activated his command center on the moon base that officially did not exist. His soldiers had been in training for 30 years, learning everything about every hegemony species, their weaknesses, their fears, how to kill them. And in the deepest part of space, Marcus Chen, the ambassador's brother, who had been reported dead 50 years ago, stood on the bridge of a ship so large it could destroy entire star systems. He watched his sister die on the recorded transmission. Then he smiled. Signal all Ghost Fleet units, he ordered. Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2. Show them what humans really look like when we stop pretending to be civilized. The hegemony had wanted to see monsters. They were about to get their wish. 6 months after Earth burned, the hegemony thought they had won the greatest victory in galactic history. The human problem was solved. Their colonies were empty ruins. Their ships were scrap metal floating in space. Their home world was a dead rock circling a yellow star. Commander Vex of the Caithvar warrior caste stood on the bridge of his battleship, watching his crew celebrate. They had just finished dividing human territory among the 12 hegemony species. Rich worlds with good soil and clean water. Mining systems full of rare metals. Strategic positions perfect for military bases. The humans made it easy for us, Vex told his officers. They were weak. They talked too much and fought too little. They deserved to die. His communications officer looked up from her station. Sir, we are receiving a distress call from Kepler Station. They say unknown ships are attacking. Vex laughed. Probably pirates thinking they can steal human technology. Send the patrol squadron to deal with them. 3 hours later, the patrol squadron was gone. No wreckage, no escape pods, no final transmissions. They had simply disappeared. Send a full battle group, Vex ordered. He was not laughing anymore. The battle group found Kepler Station intact, but empty. Every hegemony scientist and soldier on the station was dead. The attackers had been precise and efficient. No unnecessary destruction, no random violence, professional work. But the strangest thing was the ships still docked at the station. They were human designs, but unlike any human ships the hegemony had ever seen. These vessels were painted matte black. They had no diplomatic markings, no civilian identification codes. They looked like weapons designed by predators. Admiral Morrison walked through the corridors of Kepler Station, her boots echoing on the metal floors. Her soldiers moved behind her like ghosts, checking every room for intelligence. They wore black armor with no national flags or unit insignia. Their faces were hidden behind tactical masks. Morrison stopped at the station's main laboratory. The hegemony had been studying captured human technology here, trying to understand how to use it. Now the lab was empty except for bodies and broken equipment. Status report, Morrison said into her communicator. All hegemony personnel eliminated, came the reply. No survivors, no witnesses. Research data destroyed. We found detailed files on human technology and biology. They were planning to use our own inventions against human survivors. Morrison nodded. The hegemony had made another mistake. They thought the technology they captured from peaceful human colonies was all humans could build. They had no idea what military technology looked like. Begin Phase 2 transmissions, Morrison ordered. Across hegemony space, every ship and station received the same message. The transmission showed Morrison standing in Kepler Station's command center. Behind her, hegemony bodies were stacked like firewood. To the Hegemony Council, Morrison began. Her voice was calm and professional, like a teacher explaining a simple lesson. I am Admiral Sarah Morrison of the Human Ghost Fleet. You killed our diplomats, so you will deal with our soldiers instead. She gestured to the bodies behind her. You have been studying the technology from our peaceful colonies. You thought you understood human capabilities. You were wrong. The humans you destroyed were farmers and scientists and teachers. We are something else entirely. Morrison pulled out a datapad and read from it. Kepler Station personnel, 437 hegemony citizens. Military value minimal. Scientific value minimal. Threat to human survivors eliminated. Time required for operation 6 hours. Human casualty 0. She looked directly into the camera. You wanted to see what humans are really like. These bodies are your first lesson. We are not the species you fought before. We are not interested in peace talks or surrender negotiations. We are not going to warn you before we attack. We are not going to show mercy to prisoners. Morrison dropped the datapad and stepped closer to the camera. You made us this way. For 30 years, our diplomats begged you to stop killing our people. You laughed at them. You called us weak. You said we were cowards because we preferred words to weapons. You taught us that mercy is weakness. She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Lesson learned. From now on, every interaction between humans and the hegemony will be a military action. You will not receive warnings. You will not receive quarter. You will not receive burials. Morrison turned and walked toward the camera until her face filled the screen. Phase 1 was reconnaissance. We wanted to see how you fight when you think you are safe. Phase 2 begins now. We are going to show you how humans fight when we stop pretending to be civilized. The transmission ended across a space. Military commanders looked at each other with growing fear. This was not the species they had destroyed 6 months ago. These humans moved like professional killers. They spoke like machines designed for war. On the bridge of his battleship, Commander Vex stared at the blank screen. Send a message to High Command, he ordered. Tell them the humans are not extinct. Tell them something else survived. Something worse. But High Command was already getting reports from across their territory. Human ships were appearing everywhere, hitting targets with surgical precision. Military bases, research stations, supply depots, communication arrays, always the same pattern. Fast, efficient, deadly. The strangest part was that these humans never tried to capture territory. They would destroy a target completely, then disappear before reinforcements arrived. They seemed to know exactly where he forces would be and how long it would take for help to come. General Hayes monitored the operations from his secret base on Luna. The Moon had been declared destroyed, along with Earth, but the base was hidden deep underground. For 30 years, his intelligence teams had been mapping every hegemony installation, learning their patrol schedules, identifying their weaknesses. First wave reports and aid announced. 47 targets eliminated across 12 star systems. Enemy response time exactly as predicted. No human casualties. Hayes nodded. The hegemony had made this easy by being predictable. They followed the same tactical patterns they had used for centuries. They relied on the same technology. They made the same mistakes over and over. Begin second wave operations. Hayes ordered. Target their supply lines this time. Let them know we have been watching everything they do. The hegemony was about to learn that the humans they destroyed had been protecting them from something much worse. The peaceful humans had been a shield holding back the darker parts of human nature. Now that shield was gone. Admiral Morrison returned to her flagship and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Marcus Chen was preparing the final phase of their plan, the phase that would teach the hegemony what total war really meant. The humans had tried peace for 30 years. Now they would try the other thing they were good at, the thing they had been trying not to be. War, real war, human war. And humans had been practicing war for millions of years. The true scope of human preparation revealed itself like a nightmare coming to life. Across the galaxy, installations that had been hidden for decades suddenly activated. Weapons that had been sleeping in the darkness between stars powered up their engines. Soldiers who had been waiting in cold storage for 50 years opened their eyes. General Marcus Chen stood in the command center of Prometheus Station, a base so secret that even most humans did not know it existed, built inside a rogue planet drifting in deep space. The station had been preparing for this war since before his sister was born. Status report on Ghost Fleet activation, Marcus ordered. 97% of assets now online, his aide replied. 234 battleships, 412 destroyers, 896 support vessels. All commanders awakened and briefed. All weapon systems operational, Marcus nodded. The peaceful humans had built farms and schools and hospitals. The military humans had built this. A fleet larger than anything the hegemony possessed, hidden in places they never thought to look. What about the specialist units? Marcus asked. The Reapers are in position around hegemony military bases. The Shadows have infiltrated their communication networks. The Plague Doctors are ready to deploy biological weapons. The Mindbreakers are standing by to begin psychological operations. Marcus smiled. The hegemony thought they understood. Humans because they had fought. Farmers and diplomats. They had no idea what humanity looked like when they stopped holding back. Begin Phase 3, Marcus ordered. Show them what total war means. On the other side of the galaxy, Admiral Morrison received her orders while orbiting a hegemony supply world. The planet below provided food for 12 different star systems. Destroying it would starve millions of enemy soldiers. But Morrison had something better than destruction in mind. Something that would teach the hegemony a lesson they would never forget. Deploy the agricultural virus, she ordered. The virus was a masterpiece of human biological engineering. It would not hurt any living creature. Instead, it would target the specific crops that hegemony species needed to survive. Within weeks, every farm on the planet would be producing food that looked normal, but contained no nutrition. The hegemony would starve slowly, watching their bodies waste away while their stomachs felt full. It was cruel. It was creative. It was completely invisible until it was too late to stop. Meanwhile, the Shadows were infiltrating hegemony, communication networks with viruses designed specifically for alien technology. These programs did not just destroy data. They learned. They adapted. They spread from system to system like a digital plague, turning the hegemony's own networks against them. The viruses would monitor military communications and send false orders. They would redirect supply shipments to empty space. They would make hegemony ships fire on their own allies by convincing their targeting systems that friendly vessels were human attackers. But the cruelest part was that the viruses would work slowly. The hegemony would have time to realize what was happening. They would try to stop it. They would fail. They would watch their own technology betray them piece by piece. On the planet Catha Prime, home world of the warrior species that led the hegemony military, something impossible was happening. Their greatest heroes were dying in single combat against unknown opponents. The Cathar had always settled disputes through ritual duels. Their strongest warriors were considered gods among their people.